How many of you are familiar with the Paralympic Games? Yes, all right. For those that do not have their hand up, the Paralympic Games are those games for athletes with physical disabilities and visual impairment. I was on the Paralympic Games in 1996, Paralympic swim team. I know I'm a barge now, I was a swimmer then. My wife, Alice, very pregnant with our daughter, Ashley. My son, John Jr., about 8 years old. I get out of the pool, they give me a towel to dry off. As I'm wiping down, I look over on closed circuit television. I see this gentleman. He's on the long jump runway. He's an above-the-knee amputee like myself. I'm intrigued because at the University of Arkansas, go Pigs. Yes, woo pig suey. Yes, all right. We got to. Yes, we're going to have to talk, girl, afterwards. Yes, yes. Hallelujah. At the University of Arkansas, I was a 27-foot long jumper, so I'm dialed in on this gentleman. But as I'm watching him, my wife, she's watching me. And he begins his long jump runway on the takeoff board. He goes down faster and faster. He hits the takeoff board. He leaps up into the air, the apex, the height of his flight. His artificial leg flies off. Right. He lands here. Artificial leg lands about 3 feet up in front of him. Whole crowd does a Macaulay Culkin Home Alone. But that long jumper, he turns back to the official. Your name, sir? Pedro. Turns back to Pedro and says, "You're going to be my official." "Pedro, where are you going to measure my jump from? From right here, my artificial leg landed up there." That's a brilliant attitude to have. But as I was watching the long jumper, my wife, she's watching me. She is seeing a shift going on in my mind. She's seeing me go past this point of reckoning. I'm never going to run again with 2 legs. Into a revision. Maybe I can run with 2 legs with an artificial limb. And to a renewed mindset with this kind of rebirth of, if I just have a leg made for running, I can be at the Paralympic Games 4 years from now, back in my favorite discipline. She knows she's in for another 4 years. She sees me go from a mindset to a mind sight. Mindset to mind sight, coined by Dr. Dan Siegel of the Mindsight Institute of California. Mindset to mind sight. When you came in here, even before you found out your news yesterday, maybe it was a mindset that you were in. And now, how do you look and turn individually from that mindset to a mind sight? You can't go out these doors the same way you came in. It's always about growth and how we can accomplish that. This is Regis Woods on the screen here. He's a double-leg amputee. We're talking mindset. He's focused forward on the mindset to the mind sight. So how do we do it? I think we have to think about oxygen and environment. I was auditing a course down in NASA. They have the entire International Space Station submerged underwater. Our astronauts will work on the space station for maneuvers they will do in outer space. And as they're doing it, our instructors, as we're watching in the water, our instructors are telling us, "John, you know these astronauts are working in very harsh environments." How many would agree with that statement? How many would agree with it? So, show of hands. Those hands are up. Yeah, it's an easy job. Any astronaut can do that. Harsh environments. As I left NASA back to their headquarters, I began thinking about it. What makes the environment harsh on the human body? Underwater, outer space. What do you think? No air. Absolutely no air. What happens when we don't have any air? Can't breathe. And what if we can't breathe? What happens? We die. Yes, we die. That's the Xavier, it's not that difficult. We can die. Under the water, if we're at altitude, we might just go to sleep. Both can produce death. If we're under the water with the frog people behind this astronaut right here, what might we do if we realize we don't have oxygen? Panic. When we panic, we do irrational things. This remote control, for example, could be my savior if I'm underwater, and I'm going to reach out for it. So frog people are taught to come from behind them and lifeguards to rescue people, because if you approach from the front, 2 people can have a bad day. How do we know that we were in a panic situation when the pandemic first happened? What were we doing as Americans? Buying toilet paper. Because that was going to solve COVID, baby. Nothing products that you're doing, it was toilet paper. That was what we were testing. I began to think, what do I do when I'm in a panic situation? When oxygen is leaving my environment? How do I show up in those moments? Before I went down to Atlanta, I was in a gate waiting area in the Washington Dulles International Airport. I wasn't in the best mindset. You see, I wanted to be on the Olympic team and not this Paralympic team. All I could see were my teammates, 60 of them, with the wheelchair basketball team, the track and field team, and the Paralympic swim team. All I could see were people with disabilities, blind, paralyzed, cerebral palsy, spinal cord injuries, amputees like myself. What's the value? What's the benefit of being on this team? In fact, I was sitting next to a gentleman in a beautiful three-piece Armani suit. He's got gator skin shoes on, pulling a nice Louis Vuitton bag, and he's talking so loud on his cell phone, I just want to reach out and touch him. Kept my hands to myself. What's the value? What's the benefit of being on this team? The gate agent, she gets up to the lectern with herself. Ladies and gentlemen, flight number 300 is now ready for passenger boarding. Will everyone who needs a little bit more time and attention please get up and board the aircraft at this time? 60 of my Paralympic team members got up and started going down to JetBridge. I said, oh, benefit number one. That is a perk. Get on board the aircraft. I go back to the 17th row. I like the window seat. As I'm looking out the window, I look back over the fuselage, and all of my Paralympic team members are coming on. It's an amazing spectacle. I see the blind. They're being led on by the person in front of them. Those that are in wheelchairs, they're being led on in aisle chairs. Those that have cerebral palsy, they're using the backs of the chairs to ambulate to get to their seats. And then I see Tree. Tree's on a wheelchair basketball team. He's a double-leg amputee, both legs missing below his knees. Tree stands about 6 feet, 8 inches tall. But I get it, Tree can be a tree at 6'8", or stump at 4'3", depending upon which legs he picks out of his closet in the morning time. He ducks underneath the exit sign. He stops at seat 7C, sits down, pops his artificial legs off, hands them to the flight attendant, who places those legs up in the overhead bin. But I got it. Benefit number two. What do you think? More legroom. Absolutely. So yeah, you're a bunch of sick individuals to get that joke right there. Sick, very sick. And you got it pretty quick, too. More leg room. Flight attendant goes back to Tree. Can I help with anything else, sir? Do you need more time or attention? Tree says, no, ma'am, I'm good, I'm good. Off she walks back to the curtains to bring all the tabs on board the aircraft. Tabs, temporarily able-bodied individuals. She goes off to bring the tabs on board. Tree, now being 4'3", he jumps up into a seat. He takes his long basketball arms, hoists himself up to the overhead bin, climbs in, lays prone next to his legs, closes the bin door. 17F. I catch eyes with Amy, my swim teammate. Amy puts her head down, turns beet red, twiddles her thumbs like they have done this 1,000 times before. I'm on the edge of my seat. Who's going to sit in that 7th row? The tabs are going to the back of the plane. They're fighting for the exit rows. And then we have our winner, Mr. Armani suit. Still pulling that Louis Vuitton bag, still talking loud on the cell phone, stops at the 7th row, realizes that his attaché, that Louis, is not going to fit underneath the seat back pocket in front of him. So he must go to the overhead bin where our friend Tree has been lying prone for the last 5 minutes. And when he goes to lift that latch, don't get ahead of me, y'all. He goes, boom, out Tree pops, absolutely. Armani does a Carl Lewis long jump from the 7th row all the way back to the 17th row, slips on those gators. I catch eyes back with Amy. Amy says, oh, that's pretty good, John. Last guy only made to row number 10. That's a new world record. Armani gets all of his stuff. He goes back up to the 7th row where Tree has his hand on his chin, his little nubs are crossed, and he says, I'm sorry, sir, this overhead bin space has been filled. I am laughing back in 17F like I've never laughed before. I have never seen anything like this. And as I was kind of wiping a tear away from my eye, I began to remember how I was showing up just 15 minutes earlier when I wanted to be on the Olympic team, not the Paralympic team. It looked like I was going to have a lot more fun on the Paralympic team than I ever was going to have on the Olympic team. And that was teaching me my third and most valuable lesson. Tree was showing up as his full, authentic self, despite how I was showing up for him. Despite how I was showing up for him. As we think about that, and I speak with audiences around the globe, We talk about how we show up for other individuals and how you are adding value, adding oxygen, adding life to others. Because it really wasn't about, during the pandemic, using that as an example, it wasn't about whether somebody wanted to wear a mask or not. It really wasn't about if somebody wanted a vaccination or not. What it was about is if someone came to me with the opposing idea, John, register, did I, when I heard that, add oxygen into their environment, or I, John Register, take it away? Because that's on me. That's totally on me. And as you're thinking about what happens next in your world, how do you show up in that environment to add life, to add that oxygen, the mindset to the mind sight? I think what happens is that we have to know that mindset is the oxygen that's needed to survive our environments. How many of you love tests? Yeah, you don't like testing stuff at all? Okay, I'm going to give you a test. This is coming up. So if you've been out to a restaurant in the last 2 years, you should know how to do this by now. All right? So we're going to give you a test, a little test that's coming up here. You should see a question that's up there. How well do you embrace change? How well do you embrace change? Is that the question that's up there you see? Yes, okay. Just put that in there for me real quick. I'm looking at it right now. Okay, there we go. We got some folks that are in there. Can we go take the Minty? Okay, there we go. So look, I'm pretty good. I'm fluid. I'm like water. I'm horrible. I'm like mud. That's the first one. About 4 of you in there, 5 of you. 18 say I'm darn good. I'm the Matrix. There is no spoon. Really good. Okay. So you have to test things. I know you all do a lot of testing, and you had a great opportunity yesterday. So let's put some pressure on it. Can we take back the presentation, please? Take back the presentation. Here's the activity. It's called a change experiment. Please stand up if you're able to. Please stand up. Please stand up. If you're able, please stand up. Please stand up. I know you thought you were going to be in those first class chairs all day long and just kind of got talked to. Yeah, nope. Find a partner. 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 Face your partner. Face your partner. Face your partner. If you are able, take one step closer to your partner. If you're able, take one step closer. If you're able to, take one step closer. Yes. I love the hugs over here going on. I love that. Yes. You're really going to love the next one then. So you took one. Why y'all looking at me? You should be looking at your partner. There you go. All right. I invite you now, if you're comfortable, to please look your partner up and down with significant intent. Please look your partner up and down with significant intent. HR is not in the room. HR is not in the room. Once you have taken it all in, we're going to do a 2-part command. All right. I know. You done? Once you've taken it all in, 2-part command. It's called about face. You're going to go 180 degrees in the opposite direction. 3, 2, 1, about face. Oh, I saw some pretty good about faces. Any military folks in the room? Yes, we got okay, give our military folks a round of applause. Absolutely. Some really good. Thank you for protecting our United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Cool. All right. I invite you now to change 3 things about your appearance without your partner knowing. Without your partner knowing, change 3 things about your appearance. Without your partner knowing, change 3 things about your appearance. Change 3 things about your appearance without your partner knowing. When you have changed those 3 things, give your partner a tap, turn back around, guess the 3 things that were changed. When you've finished changing the 3 things, give your partner a tap, turn back around, guess the 3 things that were changed. When you have guessed the 3 things, you may take your seat. When you've guessed the 3 things, you may take your seat. When you've guessed the 3 things, you may take your seat. We have another 2-part command in the military. Take seats. All right. First thing I invited you to do was what? Look them up and down, take a step closer. What else? First thing I invited you to do. Find a partner. Close. Stand up. How many? Yes, stand up is correct. How many said, oh my gosh, another frickin' speaker is about to ask me to get out of my chair? Please don't. Anybody like that? Okay, very good. We got one hand up there. Okay, a few more back. Yes. Why do we resist a simple command as please stand up? Why do we resist? Anybody? Yell it back to me. Comfort. Yes, comfort for this. What else? Inertia. Oh, it's got me down. Uncertainty, for sure. What's going to happen next? Whenever we're trying to introduce something and you're trying to lead a process of change, people are going to resist it. They're not going to want to stand up because I don't know what's coming next. My world is just safe right now. Please don't make me change. We've been doing this for 25 years. Why change now? It's very difficult. Then I invited you to do what? Pick a partner, yes. And then do what? Take a step closer. Wait a minute. Face the partner. Then what? Step closer. Then what? Look them up and down with what? What type of intent? Serious is close. Significant. Oh my gosh, you get the book. 100%. What's your name? Marche gets the book. Yes, Marche. Give it up. Marche. Whoop, 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 whoop. That book is called 10 Power Stories to Impact Any Leader. Journal Your Way to Leadership Success. I wrote it at the beginning of the pandemic. I was speaking for Secretary Pompeo for the Chief of Missions Conference with all of our Secretaries of State, and it was on February the 27th, 2020. The room was terrifying because half our ambassadors, they're career people. The other half are appointees. And there was a rift that was going on. Our ambassadors were being kicked out of countries with no exit strategy from those countries. So you couldn't get through France. You couldn't get through England. How do you get them home? How do you lead in a divided democracy? So I wrote the book 10 Power Stories to Impact Any Leader to give a story on how we can have our own stories after you read 10 of my stories. So that's the book that you got. So thank you very much. Awesome. So significant intent. Why is that important? How many of you ever been in a meeting and you say, ready, break? You go out and you say, oh man, what did we just talk about? If we don't know down to the significance of why we're meeting, how then do we take the product to market? We have to be exceptionally clear on what it is that we are delivering down to the significance of it. The adding life as you do to the youth or to the seasoned adults. Then I invited you to turn around and change how many things? 3 things. And how many took something off? Look around you. Look at all yourselves. Look at yourselves. Look at yourselves. How many put something on? A lot less. Look, about 7. In change for this activity, whenever we are thinking about changing, we usually signify it with or associated with loss. What am I going to lose in this change? What they're going to take away from me? They're going to take away my insert whatever thing you want to put in there. When we begin to say that, that's when oxygen is going out of our environment and we're beginning to panic. And when we panic, what do? We buy toilet paper. We need to be looking for individuals who are putting things on because it's those individuals who are seeing the opportunity despite the obstacle. Territory shifting, territories changing. I see the opportunity. I got a new market I have to deal with. I see the opportunity. I can't hold on to the past things because those are gone. I'm now in a new market. I now have to execute new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of doing business. Shifting the way we think. So you turn back around, you guess the 3 things that are changed, and then I invited you to do what after you guessed those 3 things? What did you do? I invited you to do it. Pick a partner, yes, then sit back down, sit back down. How many of you put yourselves right back together? Look around, raise them high, get them high. Oh my gosh, did I tell you to do that? Because we all know that change is never sustainable. Here's the deal. We go through all of this. We're still the same way, going out the same way we came in. In order to do something different, we must do something different. And it's just an activity. Don't overanalyze it. The process and the point is it's hard to change. There are a lot of motivational, inspirational speakers that will come up that say, you just got to change it, you just got to do it. It's hard to do it because we have our mindset to deal with. We got to shift that mindset to a mindset. What do I change? Maybe it's just one thing that I do that's different. So here's the question then. How do we not return to our same patterns? Question number 3. How do we not return to our same patterns? What is it for me? So I'll give you an action step. You're probably going to hear something tomorrow or you heard something today. Here we go. Write down the one thing that you learned today, tomorrow, whatever it might be. and create one action step towards that vision. And after you've done that, complete the action step before 10 o'clock tomorrow, or whenever your next work day might be, if it's not here. And then don't hold yourself accountable to it. Get an accountability partner. Sometimes what I do if I'm struggling with a day, I call my accountability partner and I ask her, hey, can we just work in 20-minute shifts? I just got to get it done. I'm not focused. And I'm going to call you in 20 minutes. Can you help me just hold me accountable to it? And then after that, email me at john.register@outlook.com. Tell me your insights about the process. And then put in the subject lines, Xavier, so I know it's coming from you all. So I'm going to tell you, since I've been doing this, I've always believed in breaking models before models break me, and I'm going to ask you to do that for this presentation as well. I think we have to test things often and quickly to try to fail, and fail quickly, and you have to put that in practice, so I try to demonstrate that before every single audience. I've done this for about 6,000 people right now since I've been using this tool, and I've gotten less than 50 responses. Less than 50 out of 6,000 people. Right? It's tough to change. That's the other point.